Hello and a very good evening. You're watching the news tonight on Rajya Sabha television with me, Frank Pereira. Here are the headlines this evening. Parliament approves Finance Bill of 2017. Lok Sabha rejects all 5 amendments moved to it by Upper House on curbing powers to taxmen and putting a cap on donation by companies to political parties. External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj allays fears over proposed H-1B visa policy in US, tells Upper House government is engaging with the US at the highest level to protect interests of Indians and IT industry. Severe heat wave in many states. 5 people die of heat stroke as temperatures touch 46.5 degrees Celsius in central and north Maharashtra. Mercury hits 43.4 degrees Celsius in Rajasthan's Barmer district. US federal judge in Hawaii indefinitely extends suspension of President Trump's new travel ban. Ruling ensures that order can't be enforced while it is contested in court. Well, External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj informed the Upper House on Thursday that no Indian has lost a job in the US yet due to the proposed H-1B visa policy. She assured the House that the government is engaging with the US at the highest level to ensure that interests of Indians and the IT industry were not affected.
Replying to supplementaries during question hour, External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj highlighted the symbiotic relationship between the Indian IT companies and the US. Swaraj claimed that Indian companies had given direct employment to 1.5 lakh Americans and that changes in the H-1B visa regime will have economic implications for the US as well.
अभी 4 बिल कांग्रेस में आए हैं H-1B वीजा के, वो अलग-अलग ढंग से, कहीं वो कहते हैं फीस बढ़ा दो, कोई बिल कहता है, कोई बिल कहता है संख्या घटा दो, लेकिन अभी तक एक भी बिल पारित नहीं हुआ। इसलिए हम अमेरिका प्रशासन से ये बात कर रहे हैं, उसके साथ-साथ कांग्रेसमैन से बात कर रहे हैं। उन्होंने ये कहा कि हम भारतीयों का योगदान जानते हैं और हम इसमें मदद करेंगे।
Responding to another query, External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj enumerated steps to economically rehabilitate Indian expatriates from the Middle East.
Pre-departure training, जाने से पहले वो प्रशिक्षण लेकर जाएं, उस काम का भी जो करने जा रहे हैं, उसके साथ साथ से उस भाषा का भी थोड़ा सा प्रशिक्षण लेकर जाएं, ताकि उन्हें वहां जाकर के नुकसान न हो। ये हमारी नई नीति है, सुरक्षित जाओ, प्रशिक्षित जाओ।
In a response to another question, MOS and Prime Minister's office, Jitendra Singh said that the first unit of the Kawada nuclear plant is expected to be operational by 2022.
That this project envisages 6 units, and finally when it is complete, it will be capable of producing almost 7,200 megawatts of energy. The initial hassles are being overcome, and once that happens, we'll get going. And then, of course, the timeline will be easy to predict. 5 years for the first unit, and subsequently, likewise for the next 6 or 5 units.
Questions were also raised on the construction of houses under the Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana in Bihar and Jharkhand and norms for self-financing professional colleges. Kriti Mishra, Rajya Sabha TV.
Well, the Congress party on Thursday insisted on the taking up of its substantive motion on the conduct of governors of Goa and Manipur in the Upper House. Congress leader Digvijay Singh pressed for prompt discussion on his motion and accused the BJP of slaying democracy in these states. The government strongly refuted all charges and urged the Congress to respect the people's mandate.
Raising the issue during 0 hour, Congress MP Digvijay Singh reminded that his substantive motion to discuss the conduct of the governors of Goa and Manipur has been pending for 2 weeks.
आपके कहने से मैंने substantive motion दिया है, sir. At least you will protect my interest. I'm not asking for protecting my interest. I'm asking you to protect the interest of the democracy of this country. I'm asking in the interest of the people's mandate of Goa, the people's mandate of Manipur.
No. Don't go to the merit now.
Denied by these people.
Leader of opposition Ghulam Nabi Azad also claimed that the delay had undermined the urgency of the matter. CPM leader Tapan Sen also corroborated Singh's demand.
Now the motion has come in the form of a substantive motion, and that motion is pending with the chair, and we cannot delay this. Now the session is going to come to end.
That motion has been given before the House, please, and admitted. And now it is to be listed someday in the business. It cannot be delayed inordinately
only because the government is not responding and not giving the time. The thing has transpired like this.
MOS Parliamentary Affairs Mukhtar Abbas Naqvi countered the remarks, stating that it was the Congress that didn't stake the claim to form the government in Goa and was now crying foul.
क्लेम करने तक नहीं गए थे और मैनिपुलेटेड मेजॉरिटी कह रहे हैं। आप कहाँ गए थे वहाँ पर क्लेम करने? आप कहाँ थे गोवा में उस समय? आपके एमएलए क्या बयान दे रहे हैं आपके बारे में? आपके एमएलए किस तरह का स्टेटमेंट दे रहे हैं? आपको पेपर दिखाए? आपको पेपर दिखाए? स्टेटमेंट मिल रहा है आपको?
The chair, however, clarified that Digvijay Singh's motion had been admitted and directed the MOS Parliamentary Affairs to convey this to the Leader of the House.
There is a substantive motion. It has been admitted by the Honorable Chairman. It is admitted. And I have directed the Parliamentary Affairs Minister to convey to the Leader of the House regarding the subject.
The Congress has alleged that by not inviting the largest party to form the government in Goa and Manipur, the two governors had violated the constitution. The BJP produced the numbers needed for majority and subsequently won the floor test in both the states. Kriti Mishra, Rajya Sabha TV.
Well, the opposition led by the JDU demanded the resignation of the Rajasthan Home Minister over his alleged remarks against a rape victim. The government condemned any insensitive remark and stressed that the National Women for Commission has served a notice to the concerned minister. The House witnessed a brief adjournment over the issue as opposition members protested.
Raising the issue during 0 hour, JDU leader Kehkashan Parveen slammed the Home Minister of Rajasthan for allegedly questioning a gang rape victim's integrity. She demanded the government to immediately dismiss the minister for his irresponsible comments.
इन्होंने जो बयान दिया एक बच्ची के साथ गलत होता है और वो अपने पिता से जब बताती है तो उसे एफआईआर दर्ज करने में देरी होती है और इस एफआईआर दर्ज देर में जो होता है उस पे वहां के गृह मंत्री बयान देते हैं राजस्थान के कि आमतौर पर अगर 8 लोग बलात्कार करते हैं और पीड़ित बच्ची उसी दिन अपने माता पिता को सूचित नहीं करती है तो ये मेरे लिए कोई माने नहीं रखता है। ये बहुत ही शर्मनाक बात है। मुझे पूरा यकीन है कि प्रधानमंत्री जी महिलाओं के मान और सम्मान का बहुत ध्यान देते हैं। अगर वो महिलाओं के मान और सम्मान का ध्यान देते हैं तो इस मंत्री को फौरन पद से हटाना चाहिए।
Responding to the JDU members' demand, MOS Parliamentary Affairs Mukhtar Abbas Naqvi assured the members that the centre will convey the sentiments of the upper house to the state government to take corrective steps.
इस तरह के किसी भी बयान को किसी भी रूप में न्यायोचित नहीं ठहराया जा सकता, जस्टिफाई नहीं किया जा सकता, बल्कि वो निंदनीय है। अगर ये अखबार में जो छपा है वो सच है तो इसलिए जो है इस पे महिला आयोग ने नोटिस दिया है। साथ ही साथ जो है वो हम राज्य सरकार को इस संबंध में जो सदन की भावना है उससे अवगत कराएंगे ताकि वो उचित और कदम उठाए।
The chair also urged the government to inform the house of any further development.
इसके बारे में क्या हो रहा है हमको भी इन्फॉर्म करो। या हमको भी इन्फॉर्म करो, हाउस में भी इन्फॉर्म करो।
Earlier, Congress and JDU members marched into the well of the House, demanding action against the minister and forced a brief adjournment.
House is adjourned for 10 minutes.
Kriti Mishra, Rajya Sabha TV.
External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj assured the upper house of an impartial investigation into the alleged racial attack on Nigerian students. She also promised stern action against the guilty. Members cutting across party lines voiced grave concern over the issue and claimed that the incident has tarnished India's image across the globe.
दोनों घटनाएं बहुत दुर्भाग्यपूर्ण है जिसका उल्लेख शरद जी ने किया।
External Affairs Minister venting out her grievance over the assault on 4 Nigerian students in Uttar Pradesh's Greater Noida. Swaraj apprised the House during 0 hour that UP CM Yogi Adityanath has ensured a fair probe into the matter. She also confirmed that the victims are being given medical treatment and reiterated the government's commitment to deter such incidents in future.
मैंने स्वयं ने बात की और योगी आदित्यनाथ जी ने फोन करके ये कहा कि जांच बिल्कुल निष्पक्ष होनी चाहिए। मेरा ये कहना है कि जब तक जांच का परिणाम नहीं आ जाता तब तक इसके बारे में कुछ और हमको कहना उचित नहीं होगा।
Earlier, Sharad Yadav raised the issue and urged the government to take steps on war footing to ensure safety of African nationals in India.
होम मिनिस्ट्री को और सरकार को बड़े पैमाने पर प्रयास करना चाहिए कि कैसे ये बाहर के जो लोग आते हैं, हम चाहते हैं कि दुनिया में हमारे बाहर के लोगों का इज्जत और मान और सम्मान उनके साथ कोई दुश्मनी न हो, लेकिन हमारे देश में नोएडा में जिस तरह की हरकत होती है 60 लोगों ने मारा उनको।
Leader of Opposition Ghulam Nabi Azad and CPIM leader Sitaram Yechuri demanded a resolution in the House to condemn the attack.
We should strongly condemn this and tomorrow morning it should come from the House and maybe from the chair will be an appropriate person
Bajwa ji, associate
so
karo.
that it takes care
You
of
can
the
only
entire
associate
house.
Bajwa.
There should be a special resolution that the House should move and we should adopt it.
Yes, we can consider
And,
that along with
and
the
the government
government.
should consider this.
Deputy Chairman PJ Kurian also urged the government to ensure such incidents do not happen.
We are condemning the racial attack on Indians in other countries, in America, Australia, and at the same time, racial attack in our country cannot be justified. Government should be very vigilant, very strong action should be taken.
Meanwhile, Indian ambassador to Nigeria, B. Nagabhushna Reddy, was summoned by the federal government of Nigeria. The Nigerian government said those responsible for the attack must be arrested and prosecuted immediately. 4 Nigerians were assaulted in a mall in Greater Noida and surrounding areas after a protest by local residents went out of control. The locals were protesting against the death of a class 12th student suspected to have died of a drug overdose at the hands of Nigerians. Kriti Mishra's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
Meanwhile, the Lok Sabha on Thursday passed the finance bill after rejecting the amendments sent in by the Rajya Sabha. The bill was passed by voice vote. With the passing of the bill, the budgetary exercise for 2017-18 has been completed.
Parliament on Thursday approved the Finance Bill 2017 after the Lok Sabha rejected 5 amendments moved by the upper house. During the debate on the bill, Finance Minister Arun Jaitley said the amendments can't be accepted by the government. Defending the government's amendments to the Income Tax Act, Jaitley said it will protect the whistleblowers. He added that the government is open to consider suggestions to bring about transparency in political funding.
I am only hearing adjectives like it must be clean, it must be transparent. Please give me the ideal combination of the two. We are willing to consider it. But the fact is, under the circumstances, these are 4 options which we have opened, and these are 4 which emanate from a scheme which will be drawn under the Income Tax Act.
Opposition members as well as MPs of allies, however, objected to the government's amendments to political funding and demanded the amendments made by the Rajya Sabha. These included an upper limit for political funding by companies, a cap of 7.5% of net profit of the last 3 financial years for donation to political parties, and disclosure of names of the political parties getting the contributions.
Here you are opening the floodgates for corporate funding for political purpose. At this point of time, any political party which is in government may reap benefit.
This step, in my opinion, madam, will bring transparency in the process of contributions to political parties and will enable both the parties and companies to disclose the funding information and boost accountability.
पॉलिटिकल फंड्स में ट्रांसपेरेंसी होनी चाहिए, किसने दिया, कितना दिया और कितना फंड्स होना चाहिए, इसका भी एक लिमिट तय होना चाहिए.
When you are ready for transparency, why don't you accept this Rajya Sabha amendment? Madam, Rajya Sabha is a house of reason.
Rajya Sabha had also made amendments to delete provisions relating to the powers given to taxmen like power to requisition books of account, power to survey and more powers to officers. However, all these amendments were rejected by a voice vote in Lok Sabha.
आर्टिकल 80 पहले आया था. काउंसिल ऑफ स्टेट्स, राज्यों से, प्रदेशों से आवाजें हमारी देश की नीतियां बनाने में, हमारे देश की जो है कानून, संविधान बनाने में वो आवाजें भी उतनी महत्वपूर्ण हैं. तो आज मैं समझता हूं कहीं ना कहीं आर्टिकल 80 की भावना का भी जो है इस सरकार ने ध्यान नहीं रखा है.
Bicameral system is there for checks and balance. Just because a party has a majority in Lok Sabha, it should not ride roughshod over the opinion of the other house.
The Congress and TMC insisted on following parliamentary traditions. With the passage of the finance bill, the budget procedure has been completed before 31st March for the first time ever. Ravindra Sharan's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
Well, Noida police today claimed that a complaint lodged by the Kenyan woman was false. The woman had said that she was pulled out of a cab and physically assaulted. Noida Senior Superintendent of Police Dharmendra Yadav clarified in a press conference that the Kenyan national was not assaulted. Police officials produced the driver of the cab in which she travelled to corroborate her version. The cab driver said that he witnessed no such attack. The Noida SSP also claimed that there were no injury marks to support the woman's version. African Students Welfare Association President Charles also stated that a false statement was registered.
हमको भी पूरी तरह आश्वस्त थी कि पुलिस ने जो है काफी कोऑपरेट किया और हम लोगों की सुरक्षा को लेकर के ग्रेटर नोएडा पुलिस ने काफी प्रयास किए। तो ये लोग एक तरह से बड़ा आश्चर्यचकित थे जब उन्हें ये मरियम वाली जानकारी मिली और इन लोगों ने अपने स्तर से पूछताछ की और उस पूछताछ में ये पाया कि वो जो उसने जो कुछ भी सूचना दी वो सही नहीं थी।
We are satisfied with the efforts that the police have made. The victim has, or in this case, Maria has withdrawn the complaint, and upon investigations, the police has graciously accepted to close the case.
And it's only the end of March, but cities across several states in the country are already witnessing severe heat wave conditions. At least 5 people died of heat stroke in Maharashtra. Districts in central and north Maharashtra were the worst affected as the heat reached 46.5 degrees Celsius, 7 degrees above normal. It was also the hottest day of the year on Wednesday in the national capital, with the temperature 6 degrees above normal at 38.2 degrees Celsius. Temperature in Dehradun as well as Srinagar was recorded much above the normal for this time of the year. Heatwave conditions prevailed over most parts of Uttar Pradesh. The maximum temperature crossed 40 degrees in Varanasi, Allahabad, Hamirpur and Agra. The temperature in Ludhiana in Punjab is 7 degrees above normal, while mercury in Rajasthan's Barmer touched 43.4 degrees Celsius. The Met Department has said that heatwave conditions will prevail at isolated regions in Gujarat before temperatures across the state return to normal in 2 to 3 days.
ओवरऑल जो स्थिति है, बहुत सारा एरिया जो देश का है वो हीट वेव की ग्रिप में है। अगर मैं राज्यों के नाम बताऊं तो खास तौर से राजस्थान, मध्य प्रदेश और उससे लगा हुआ जो विदर्भा है और नॉर्थ मध्य महाराष्ट्र है, गुजरात का कुछ हिस्सा है, इसमें जो हीट वेव पिछले 2 से 3 दिन से कई जगह में चल रही है और साथ ही साथ जो हीट वेव है छत्तीसगढ़ और इंटीरियर उड़ीसा में भी देखी जा रही है। अगर हम फोरकास्ट की बात करें तो ये हीट वेव आगे 2 से 3 दिन रहेगी, पर ये 2 दिन के बाद में इसमें जो थोड़ी जो इंटेंसिटी है उसकी कम हो जाएगी और एरिया भी कम हो जाएगा।
Railway officials ruled out the possibility of sabotage in the Jabalpur-Nizamuddin Mahakoshal Express derailment. 52 people were injured after 8 coaches of the Jabalpur-Nizamuddin Mahakoshal Express derailed early this morning near Mahoba station in Uttar Pradesh. According to officials, a few cracks in the tracks could be a possible cause of the derailment. An inquiry is ordered into the incident, which left 400 meters of track damaged. Railways has announced an ex gratia of 50,000 rupees for those with grievous injuries and 45,000 rupees for those with minor injuries. The mishap disrupted rail traffic on the route, with services of at least 14 trains disrupted.
घटना का कारण जांच के बाद ही स्पष्ट बताया जाता है, लेकिन अभी तो जो देखने पा रहे हैं, आप देख रहे हैं कि ट्रैक में कुछ टूट फूट हो गई है, लेकिन वास्तविक जांच कैसे क्या कारण है ये पूरा अनुसंधान का विवेचना का विषय है, जिस पे काम चल रहा है। कोई आपराधिक हस्तक्षेप प्रथम दृष्टया नहीं लगा।
Meanwhile, thousands of farmers from Punjab demonstrated outside Parliament to protest against the union government's agriculture policies, especially import of food crops. The farmers protesting under the banner of Bharati Kisan Union Ekta said that the government should stop importing fruit grains like wheat that are produced in sufficient quantities in the country. They are also demanding implementation of the Swaminathan Commission's recommendations, farm loan waiver and farmer-friendly policies. The protesting farmers also brought a charter of demands for Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Agriculture Minister Radha Mohan Singh. They also sounded a warning, saying that if their demands are not met, then farmers from across India will hold large-scale protests in Delhi.
आने वाले समय च जेकर सरकार ने कोई किसान पक्षी नीति ना बनाई, विश्व भर संस्था नाल समझौता जो किया उसको रद्द ना किया, किसानों के कर्जे पर लीक ना मारी, तो हम और पंजाब दी किसान जथेबंदियां ही नहीं, हिंदुस्तान दी जो किसान जथेबंदियां है उनको साथ लेके बड़ा संघर्ष करेंगे और सड़कें जाम करेंगे, रेलां जाम करेंगे। आज तो चेतावनी देने आए हैं हम यहाँ पर।
Well, here's a roundup of the other news from across the country and nationwide. Well, the Assam police has gunned down 2 militants belonging to the NDFB Songbujit faction in Chirang district. An operation was launched this morning after receiving intelligence inputs. The arms and ammunitions have been recovered from the slain militants. At least 2 persons were killed and many others injured in a fire at a hotel in southern Kolkata. According to preliminary reports, the fire broke out around 3 a.m. and caused extensive damage to the kitchen and some adjacent rooms. More than 30 people were rescued by the firefighters. The cause of the fire is not yet clear and an investigation is underway to ascertain the same. At least 5 people died in an aqua processing factory in West Godavari district of Andhra Pradesh under the influence of poisonous gases released from it. The incident occurred when the workers got into a tank to clean it. Chief Minister N. Chandrababu Naidu spoke to the district collector over the phone and asked him to extend all the help to the bereaved families. The Supreme Court on Thursday referred the triple talaq matter to a constitution bench. The top court will hear the matter from May 11th. The court was hearing a batch of petitions filed by women and the constitutional legitimacy of triple talaq and polygamy practiced in the Muslim community. The All India Muslim Personal Law Board, however, defended the practice. Well, in other news now, India has called for the overhauling of the electoral processes in the UN General Assembly as an initial step towards reforming the working methods of the United Nations. Speaking during a debate on working methods in New York on Wednesday, Counselor in India's permanent mission to the UN, Anjani Kumar, said that the UN Secretariat should conduct a time-bound analysis of the current electoral practices to identify gaps and problems. Other UN members also noted that the role and authority of the General Assembly has been progressively undermined by the expansive role and activism of the Security Council, much beyond what is envisioned in the UN Charter. Meanwhile, a U.S. federal judge in Hawaii has indefinitely extended the suspension of President Donald Trump's new travel ban. U.S. District Judge Derek Watson issued the long-lasting hold on the ban just hours after hearing various arguments. Extending the temporary order would also ensure the constitutional rights of Muslim citizens across the U.S. as vindicated after repeated changes in the last 2 months. Hawaii also argued that the ban would harm tourism and also the ability to recruit foreign students and workers. The judge turned his earlier temporary restraining order into a preliminary injunction that would have a more lasting effect. President Trump's executive order on 6th March would have placed a 90-day ban on people from Iran, Libya, Somalia, Sudan and Yemen and a 120-day ban on refugees. Donald Trump's travel ban, however, aims to prevent terrorists from entering the United States. Here's a roundup of the other international news and global buzz. Turkey has ended the military operation it launched in Syria. Prime Minister Binali Yildirim said that the operation has been completed but did not rule out new military campaigns under a different name. In August last year, Turkey had launched Operation Euphrates Shield inside Syria, targeting Islamic State terrorists and Syrian Kurdish militia fighters. US Secretary of State Rex Tillerson met Turkish Prime Minister Binali Yildirim during a one-day visit to Ankara. The visit comes at a politically sensitive time when the country prepares for a referendum on April 16 that proposes to change the constitution to give Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan new powers. Tillerson is also expected to meet Erdogan. A South Korean court began deliberating on Thursday whether to arrest ousted President Park Geun-hye. Park was removed from office in a corruption scandal involving charges of bribes from the country's largest conglomerate. According to prosecutors, Park could face more than 10 years in jail if convicted. Chinese President Xi Jinping will meet US President Donald Trump at his Mar-a-Lago retreat in Florida next week. This will be Xi's first meeting with Trump. China's Foreign Ministry spokesman Lu Kang spoke of the need to see the big picture while fostering mutual interests in trade relations. The summit will follow a string of other recent US-China meetings and conversations aimed at mending ties between the two nations. At least 17 people were killed and 60 others injured in a suicide truck bomb blast in Baghdad. According to police, the bomber detonated his explosive-laden truck at a checkpoint where a number of vehicles were waiting for checking purposes. No one has claimed responsibility for the attack so far. That's it on this newscast. Good night.